Welcome to ExcelBoats on the X Podcast, powered by Mud Buddy Motors.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
The only podcast to bring you insights on the world of hunting, fishing, and boating. With your host, J. Paul Jackson.
You don't say much, do you?
Now, load up and sight in. This is On the X.
Welcome to the ExcelBoats on the X Podcast, powered by Mud Buddy Motors. I'm your host, J. Paul Jackson, and today I am joined by two super special guests. As a matter of fact, I'm probably more excited about today's podcast than I ever have been about one in the past, because not only do I have one of our illustrious pro staffers with me, Mr. Jeff Dodd, who is a cat fisherman extraordinaire, but today I'm also joined by an extraordinarily special guest. It's our privilege today to have Mr. Bill Dance, the legend himself, Tennessee cap and all, here on the X Podcast. Bill, buddy, welcome.
Hey, thank you, buddy. I taught him everything he knows. He wouldn't tell you that, J. Paul.
Here we go. Here we go.
Here we go. Here we go. If I didn't say it, he'd say it. But he wouldn't say it. He knows the truth.
You know, Saturday afternoon I was over at Jeff's shop, and all those plaques, you know, from all those top 5 finishes and those wins, including last year's World Catfishing Championship down in Savannah. He told me, he said, you know, I wouldn't have any of these plaques if Bill Dance hadn't taught me everything that I know.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Tell him, Jeff.
Are y'all talking to me?
Of course we're talking to you, son. Poor baby.
You do know that's Mr. Blue, don't you?
That's what we're trying to tell you. You know it.
Yes, sir, the Catfish King himself.
Hey, I will say this. Bill was involved with some of them plaques up on that wall. He sure was.
No, I'm kidding everybody. I tell you what, that boy right there knows how to catch catfish, J. Paul. I'll promise you that. He's as good as they come when he puts a hook in that river. I'll promise you that. He is really good. And I couldn't have a better partner. I tell you what, old George Young, I fished a lot with, and he's good. But that Jeff, he's tough. He's a tough dude. He really is, and he knows that river, and does real well on it. He really does. We've had some great trips on the Mississippi, and of course his expertise is not just the Mississippi. It's moving water. He knows how to fish it. He really does.
I can tell you.
Kid with him, but he knows I'm kidding. But he does a good job in these tournaments, and that's where he's got all those tournaments.
Yeah, he certainly got the plaques on the wall to prove it. I'll tell you what, all those trophies were pretty doggone impressive. And now, speaking of George Young, you would have to bring him into the conversation, wouldn't you, Bill?
Oh, well, you know, George has done a lot for the sport, and he's a great guy and a good friend, and a good friend of Jeff's, and he's done a lot for the sport and promotes the sport. He's got a big tournament. I think he's going into his 3rd year with Monsters on the Mississippi, and so
Mississippi River Monsters, MRM, Mississippi River Monsters.
Mississippi River Monsters, and Jeff and I have been buddies in that. We fished at. We've been partners several years in the tournaments. We fished last year and the year before together, and I think we're partners are going to be in again this year. Going to try our luck again.
Yeah, we've got several upcoming events now. Speaking of upcoming events, July the 28th, we're all going to be in Caruthersville, Missouri, for the ExcelBoats, Grizzly Jig, B&M Poles, Cabela's King Cat Trail event there. And Jeff was telling me that you're going to be fishing that with George, and he's planning on showing up with a secret weapon because he's planning on kicking y'all's tail in Caruthersville. Didn't you tell me that, Dodd?
Now, there you go. There you go, making up stories again. But hey, I'll put it this way. If I'm going to fish against him, I'm going to be trying to beat him. I promise you I am. You know, Bill and I have a little thing going. If we fish against one another, we have a standing bet. If you lose, you got to buy the other one smoked by Annie's. And he's had to buy me some, but I'll be honest with you, I've had to buy him some too.
I'll tell you one thing, I've had to buy you more.
Well, I tell you what, J. Paul, I'm looking really forward to that tournament. The river's falling right now, and I mean, it should be a good one. There should be some really good fish caught in that tournament.
Yeah, I was on the Mississippi River yesterday afternoon. I got out on the water for a little while with Wade Mansfield from Grizzly Jig, and it's dropping about a foot a day right now. If we don't get any big rains up in the Ohio River Valley or further up in the Mississippi River Valley, I think probably by the time we get to tournament day, it's going to be down at about 10 feet on the Caruthersville gauge, which everybody tells me that is a prime level for big cats.
10 feet would be good, buddy. 10 feet would be real good. Real good. That should make for a real good tournament. It really should.
I'm hoping we get there. I'll tell you what, I don't know about you two, but I am sick of the Deadgum River being so high. I mean, it's been high since mid-February.
It has, and you know, that's usually in July the river's down pretty good, but I don't know, all that rain that come up through the Tennessee River Valley earlier in the June month, in the late June month, it's really had it high. But I'm gonna tell you, they've even though with it high, they've started catching some real good fish off the river now.
Yeah, I know George got third along with Ben Goebel in the event this weekend up in Cape Girardeau, and I think George told me this morning they had a 55-pounder. Is that right, Bill?
Yeah. Yeah, they finished third. I think the Masson girls won.
Yeah, those Massengale boys are awful hard to beat. Did you say Masson girls?
Yeah, Massengale. Yeah, they won it.
Yeah, you know, and Bill, everybody in the world knows that you're a bass fisherman. I mean, I can tell you, Jeff and I, we both, you know, grew up watching you every Saturday morning on TV. But, I mean, you'd probably just soon catch a catfish as a bass any day of the week, wouldn't you?
Well, I tell you, you know, I grew up fishing moving water over in Middle Tennessee, you know, Mulberry Creek. When the creek would get muddy, I'd run down the cow fields and catch big grasshoppers. And we'd think that's the time to catch catfish on Mulberry Creek, and we did. We'd bait our hooks and we'd catch cat. But I've always learned to fish moving water, and still today, it's still my favorite form of fishing. But right here in Memphis, really, it's our biggest fish. We living between the Tennessee River and where I do I'm an hour and a half from the Tennessee River, and I'm about 30 minutes from Mississippi. And I'm fortunate to live between two major rivers and have the opportunity to have these two great catfish fisheries right here basically in my backyard, and to have the moving water that I have here. So it gives me an opportunity to fish for two species of fish, flatheads, blue cat, and it's the biggest fish we have right here in this area. So I enjoy the moving water and the opportunity to fish for great big fish. So I truly love to go here and fish the Mississippi. And then I had a place on Pickwick for about 15 years, and I love to fish the tail race waters from Pickwick Dam on down river, 30, 40 miles. And then even up in Pickwick Lake, I fish for catfish, and even on up to Wilson, even up in Wheeler Lake, are also great catfish fishers. But the opportunity to fish moving water, and when you drop a bait, like in the Mississippi River, you don't know if that fish is going to be 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 60, 80 pounds, or even 100 pounds, because we have massive size catfish in that river that go to bed every night. They go to bed hungry every night. And I really should say that because our fish are extremely healthy in that river. We have an abundance of feed, and we do have healthy fish in the Mississippi River. So the opportunity to catch gigantic fish right here in our backyard is you have a golden opportunity to catch great big fish right here in this within a stone throw of where I am right now. So I enjoy fishing the Mississippi because the fish for great big fish.
Yeah, and speaking of big fish, I've seen some pretty big ones in the pictures there. I've had the privilege to be in your office several times. Didn't you and George catch one really big cat on there? Didn't you catch one a little over 100 pounds?
Yeah, George and I were fishing up north of Memphis one afternoon, and I caught one that weighed 110, and that's my biggest, my personal best, and George netted it for me. And then it was funny. It was the next weekend, I think, within 20 yards of where I caught that one. I caught an 82. It was a little trench on a bar, on a mud bar, and water went from 42 to 48 in this mud trench, and then back up to 42, and both of those fish were in that 48-foot mud trench. So I went back to where I caught the 110, and about 20 yards downstream from where I caught the 110, I caught an 82. So, and George was with me both times, and he netted both of those fish.
I bet you he tells everybody about that too. You know, I put Bill Dance on the biggest two fish of his life. I can hear it coming out of his mouth now. Jeff, what's the biggest one you've ever caught?
I caught one down in Alabama that weighed 91 pounds. That's the biggest I've caught. Weighed 90.7 or something like that. Caught him in a tournament down there. And of course, he was the big fish of the tournament. But that was on Lake Wheelers, where he come from. The biggest fish I've caught personally out of the Mississippi River is I caught one that weighed 76, and then Darrell and I caught one in a tournament down there at Tunica that weighed 80 point something, right at 81 pounds. So that's my three biggest.
But you know, you did something though, Jeff, that you had a stringer of 5. One of the most impressive things, one thing that really impressed me, you fished a tournament on Wheeler and weighed in 5 that weighed 200. How big was that?
Well, we had 5. Our 5 biggest of the day weighed 290 something pounds.
That was but you threw back.
But we couldn't weigh but 2 of them big ones, and we still weighed with the 2 overs and the 3 unders. We still weighed 193 pounds in.
Yeah,
that is unbelievable.
I know.
5 fish, 200 pounds.
Pretty impressive.
I was fishing with John Warden, my partner, and my brother that day, and my brother was actually taking pictures of them, putting them on Facebook as we was throwing them back. But I think we caught 20 fish over 34 inches that day. It was just an unreal day.
That's pretty impressive.
It was an unreal day. It's the days you live for.
Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee you. I tell you, you know, I've never caught a catfish over 40 pounds myself. And, you know, watching you guys bringing these 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds, I can't imagine what the fight must be like on a 110-pound cat. How long did it take you to land that fish, Bill?
It didn't take a long time. Of course, floating or drifting with the current, you know, fighting him, it probably got the fish up in about 10 minutes, 10, no more than about 10 minutes. It's just straight down and pulling him up. And surprisingly, I caught him on the same rod that I fish with all the time. It's just a medium heavy 7-foot rod that it was like what you'd call like a heavy flipping stick. I used 30-pound braid, had 30-pound braid, and actually the reel I was using was a bass reel that would hold about 110 yards of mono line. Of course, it would, but I had braid on it. Like I said, I was using 30-pound braid and a 4-ounce sinker and an 8-aught gamakatsu hook. Is what I caught him on. But and then I caught the 85, and that same day caught a 72 with George. You know, the 110 that week, and then the next week caught the 85 and a 72 the same day. But I don't know, it's just those big fish like that, they just pull hard, and they'll make a couple of runs, but they don't. The real fighters are the 20 and 30 pounders. They'll really give you a good run for your money. But those great big fish, they fight and they tug hard. But the real fighters, I mean the real good fighters, are the 20s and 30s. Don't you think so, Jeff?
Yes, sir. I was just fixing to say, we call them mean 35 pounders. You know, you sit there and you fight one, and you get him in the net and you wonder where the rest of him is, you know?
Yeah, you do. You really do.
Yeah, and you know, the same thing that Bill said, J. Paul, that 90-pounder, we probably had him in the boat in less than 5 minutes. He just actually come right to the boat. I mean, he come to the boat and he made, after we got him to the boat, he made 2 or 3 hard runs, you know, taking 50 and 60 feet of line when he did. But then when he come up, he was done. You know, we dipped and put him in the boat. But, yeah, I fought them 35, 40-pounders a lot longer than some of them bigger fish I've caught.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing. They'll give you all you want. And when you get – I've caught 25-pounders, 25 to 30-pounders, and I said, get the net. And, I mean, they just bear down and strip line and you get them almost in, and they'll haul it off again. And you'd say, well, I don't know if I'm gonna get him. This one's got all these. This will give me all I want. And I've caught big snook. I've caught heavy sharks and stuff, and doing it in the saltwater series. But I said, this is a hoss. This is a show enough hoss. And when you get him up, it's like Jeff said, where's the rest of him? You know, and you look at him, you say, if that fish had gotten off, I swore he weighed 70 pounds.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And you look at him and you just kind of melt right there in the boat. You say, golly, I can't believe it. How much does he weigh? 32 pounds, 28 pounds. I can't believe it. But the fun, as far as the fun in a good fight, those 20, 25, 30, 35 pounders, they will beat you to your knees. They're the fun fish to catch as far as a good fight.
And I'll tell you something else about that size fish. Usually when they hit it, they nail it. You know, a big fish will just pick it up and try to swim off with it. But when they hit it now, I mean, I've had some actually try to just about take the rod away from me, knock the rod out of my hand. I sure have.
I'll tell you what, they'll knock the scales off of it. They'll knock the starch out of it. I'm telling you, they will.
Dang, man. Now you guys are wearing me out. I'm ready to go get a storm cat and get out on the Mississippi River with the 2 of y'all. And I tell you, Jeff, hearing him talk about all those big fish he's caught with George, you may have your work cut out for you beating him July the 28th in Caruthersville. Sounds like they've kind of got a recipe for that Mississippi River.
Well, let me tell you.
Hey, J. Paul?
Yes, sir.
I'll shoot some. I'm going to be right there next to him. I'll be anchored right there. I'll be fishing close to him. I'll shoot some pictures for you.
That's great. Actually, I'm going to be on the water also that day. I'm going to be out there in my boat covering the event. I think Jeremy and I are going to
get pictures of all of us. We'll be right there close together.
Yeah, I'll be chasing you down.
Y'all better put some gas in them boats.
Listen at him. Listen at him. Oh, boy, Jeff, I tell you what, you kill me. You kill me. Oh, you're so. That's the only reason we keep you around, because you're so funny. You get up every morning and put bologna in both your shoes. That's what makes you so funny.
I've never heard that one. I got to use that.
I'm going to tell you something. That boy will make a freight train take a dirt road. I'm telling you, he will. Oh, I tell you what, you can't help but love him. I'm telling you what. He's the only person in the tournament and beat me and make me smile. I'll tell you right now. Oh,
yeah, I will say this about Jeff Dodd. If you don't like Jeff Dodd, you probably need to look in the mirror to find the reason why.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right. I love you, buddy. I love you, buddy. I don't care if your wife doesn't. I love you.
Well, hey, let me tell you something. You better bring me some varieties to Carruthersville. That's what you better do.
I've always got them when I go up against you. You know I do.
Hey, let me tell you what he did for me, Bill. I got to brag on our boy for a minute before we move on. So Saturday, I called him up and I invited him to go fishing with me up at Gibson County Lake. But I'd got my new Garmin Panoptics that I wanted to put on my boat, and I was struggling here in my driveway. And Jeff, being a farmer, you know, farmers can generally fix anything, and they have all the tools because their stuff breaks down all the time anyway.
Right.
So I called him up and I said, Jeff, I'm going to come pick you up because I need a little bit of help. And let me tell you, bless his heart, for 2 hours, he stood out there in that hot sun. It was only like 97 degrees. I mean, it was hot, and helped me work on that boat. I cut a chunk out of one of my fingers, and hell, he even went and got me Band-Aids, and didn't complain about nothing. It was almost 7 o'clock Saturday night before we got on the lake. We had like 1 hour to spend on the lake, and that was it. But man, he was a trooper. And I tell you what, that's a true friend. Just took care of me, didn't gripe a bit, and would do it again tomorrow, I'm sure, for me. So I tell you, I got to brag on him. He did me right.
Oh, he'd do anything in the world for you. He will.
Yeah. I'll try to beat you too.
Oh, I know you will. I know that.
Well, I'm going to be there to referee and watch this. I'll update everybody. So, you know, those of you guys out there listening to the podcast, on July the 28th, you need to park yourself in front of your Facebook, because I will be bringing Facebook Live updates from the Mississippi River during that Cabela's King Cat Trail event all day long. I'm going to be going back and forth. Doesn't sound like I'll have to go very far since they're going to be anchored next to each other, back and forth between George's Excel Stormcat 230 that Bill will be fishing with George out of, and Jeff should have his new Stormcat by then. And I'm just going to be crisscrossing between the two. And
bring me a can of hyenas from his boat, because that's what he'll be. That's what I'll be getting, I think.
I'll pick up a case of them and throw them in my Bay Pro 203.
Hey, I've had to give him a case before. I promise you, J. Paul. But maybe not this time.
Yeah.
Hey, he actually he mailed me a case to my house, and my wife opened it up and said, "What is this case of babies for?" But I'll tell you, we were fishing in Tunica when that happened, and I was leading the first day, and Bill didn't want too far behind, but we fell back, and I actually only think I beat them. I mean, we're talking like 205 pounds. I think I actually only beat him like a pound, 1 pound, but it's good enough for a case of Annie's.
Yeah, the pound cost me a case of hyenas. The dog came in one. Boy, I tell you what. But he deserved it. It was a good tournament, though.
Well, now, see, y'all are going to be fishing against each other in Carruthersville, but then we've got another event coming up, September the 8th. You brought it up earlier, George Young Jr.'s Mississippi River Monsters tournament there at the Pyramid in Memphis, or right there at Mud Island. You two guys are going to be fishing together in that event, aren't you, as a team?
Yeah, we're partners then. And then the next week, your tournament, I think, is the week before that, isn't it?
Yep, our tournament is September the 1st, the warm-up event.
Yeah,
We'll be fishing it too. We'll be fishing it too.
Yeah, we're partners in that. And then the next week we're partners again. And then, I don't know, we're against each other and then we're for each other. It's kind of funny how it is. But I tell you, even when we're in the boat together, we're fishing against each other. But we're fishing for each other too.
So y'all compete against each other while you're competing. It's all about being first.
Yeah, I tell you what, he's after me. He said, "You better get one. You better get one." And I talking. He tells me, "Shut up and fish. Shut up and fish." You know, he stays on me all the time. Catch one. Get busy. Get busy. Get busy. Are you fishing? Are you fishing?
Yeah, are you fishing? Exactly right. We have a lot out there.
Great time, and it's just that competitiveness, and that's what it's all about. It's just having a good time, and I look forward to it. I look forward to the tournament at Caruthersville, fishing against him, and I look forward to the next week fishing the tournament, fishing with him. So we have a good time.
Yeah, you know what he told me the other day, Bill?
There's no telling.
Hey, with him, he said it's all about winning. He said, let me tell you something, J. Paul. The fella that says winning isn't everything, that son of a gun, he never won anything. He said, you show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser, period. So,
hey, no true words were ever spoken. That's exactly right.
Well,
if you can't accept defeats, you shouldn't compete.
You know what did Bill? What did Gerald Swindle say one time? He said, "Before you can be a great winner, you got to learn to be a great loser."
That's exactly right.
And boy, that's truer words have never been spoken, have they?
That's a fact, Jack. I can promise you.
Well, I'm gonna move y'all on to another topic here too, because we've been talking about all these events, but we announced over the weekend what is probably going to be the largest event to ever occur in the catfishing world. And if you haven't seen it on Jeff's or Bill's or mine or George's Facebook, guys, I'm really, really proud to announce here during the On the X podcast today that ExcelBoats will be presenting March 8th, 9th, and 10th in 2019 in the catfish capital of the world, Memphis, Tennessee. We'll get that in there for the Memphis tourism folks. They're awful proud of the fact that Memphis is the catfish capital of the world. We will be presenting the inaugural annual Bill Dance World Catfishing Expo at AgriCenter International in Memphis, Tennessee. And guys, I tell you, I couldn't be more excited. I'm sure this is going to be the premier catfishing expo and event in the world. And Bill, that you've lent your time and your name to it. By the way, Bill's not in this for profit. This is strictly about promoting the industry. I think that says a whole lot, and it's very generous, Bill.
Oh, absolutely. You're going to see more equipment than you've ever seen under one rooftop in your life, especially if you even like to catch catfish, whether it be on a mighty river like the Mississippi or in a farm pond out behind Uncle Bud's or Granddaddy Clyde's farmhouse. If you want to know about hooks, line, mono, braid, rods, reels, boats, electronic, anything pertaining to catfish, you want to be there. You want to make plans to be there. Like Jeff said, March 8th, 9th, and 10th. You're going to have a lot of professional folks there to talk about catfish. They're going to tell you how to rig up, whether to fish in a creek, whether to fish in a pond, or whether to fish, if you want to fish professionally, like Jeff and like a lot of these guys do. If you want to talk about boats, you want to talk about motors, you want to talk about trolling motors, you want to talk about electronics, which has gotten to be a big, big thing now. All these guys will be here. Manufacturers will be here to talk to you about that. As I said, these professionals will be here to talk to you about how to fish catfish, summer, fall, winter, spring, cold water, hot water, muddy water, clear water. They'll talk to you about seasonal patterns. They'll talk to you about locations. They'll talk to you about the habits and the habitat of catfish. catfish, this sport is growing by leaps and bounds. And they talked for years and years that the catfish was just a fish. A catfish today is a sport fish. And the Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, they recognize it as a sport fish. And this event is going to really highlight the catfish in a big, big way. So J. Paul will probably tell you more about that. But this event, as I said, we'll have manufacturers from all across the United States there. You'll be able to see more than you've ever dreamed of seeing under one roof. So we invite everyone out. Memphis Tourism, Kevin Kane is all about it. He's behind it 100%. City of Memphis is behind it 100%. They booked the Agri Center. That's more room now. They'll have boats displayed. Like Jeff just said, Excel is one of the main sponsors in this event. Memphis Tourism is the big sponsor in this event, with a lot of other sponsors involved in it. So come on out, March 8th, 9th, 10th, make plans now, put it on your calendar. See one of the biggest events, catfish events that you can imagine. So it's going to be something that, and bring your children, because you're going to see something you've never seen before.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a very family-oriented event there at Agri Center International. And, you know, just like you were saying, Bill, we're going to have a lot of pros there. We're going to have Jeff Dodd there. George Young is going to be there. These guys are going to be putting on seminars. It's about educating the public, because catfish are a sport fish. It is absolutely a tremendous growing sport, and we want to help promote it in any way we can. We'll have the pros there doing seminars. We're going to have the rod folks there. I talked to Jack at B&M Poles just the other day, and John Adams of Warrior Rods. They're both super excited about it. I was on the phone with some of the Garmin folks this morning. I know, Bill, you're associated with Garmin, as I am also, and they're planning on being there. But we're going to be inclusive. I mean, I hope to see Hummingbird folks, Lawrence folks there as well. Even though it's an ExcelBoats sponsored event, we're going to have other boat folks there. Of course, Bill is with Bass Pro Shops, and Bill fishes out of Nitro and Tracker boats. And, they're going to be welcome there. This is an inclusive event that is designed to help spread the word about what a great sport fish the catfish is, and to help this young but growing industry, because this is a resource that can be found from coast to coast, from border to border. Catfish exist in just about every lake and river in the United States. So I mean, no matter where you fish, farm ponds, the Mississippi River, heck, Ambry, one of our young ladies in our marketing department out in Utah, if you take a look at our social media, she caught a catfish out there in Utah the other day. I think Glade and Jeffrey Whitlock, our IT genius and marketing guy, was out there with her. And, so this is all about promoting the sport of catfishing. We're going to have also, because Memphis loves cook-offs, we're going to have the World Catfish Cook-Off there at this event as well. Don't know if he's going to be able to make it or not, but I've been talking to Scott Laysath, a buddy of yours too. I know, Bill, Scott. He is the sporting chef and the official chef of Ducks Unlimited, which is right there at the Agri Center. So hopefully Scott's going to be coming in to do a special edition of the sporting chef there and to judge the catfish cook-off. Next Monday, the 16th, we're having an organizational meeting there in Memphis, and John Butler, the president and CEO of Agri Center International, I think he's going to be coming out to your office with me, Bill. And, we got a lot of things in the work. We're going to work really hard to make this by far the biggest event that the catfishing industry has ever seen, and fishing in general. I mean, there are going to be folks there from the rod manufacturers, reels. Hopefully you'll be able to get some of the good people from Quantum there, Bill. And, you name it, if it pertains to fishing in general, it's going to be there at the Agri Center International, the first annual Bill Dance World Catfishing Expo, March 8th, 9th, and 10th of 2019. And keep on watching our social media too, because we're going to continue to promote this event to make sure that it's the best fishing event the industry's ever seen. Jeff, you'll be there, right, buddy?
Yes, sir. I'll be there, and I'm looking really forward to it. I think it's going to be huge. I'm really looking forward to putting everything under one roof. Just like you said, all boats. All boats will be welcome. This place that we're going to be, I was at a boat show at this place. It's just phenomenal. You can get stuff in and out of the Agri Center. You set up. It's divided out. It's a really good place to have an expo. I'm telling you.
Plenty of parking. It's just a lot going on all around it.
Oh, yeah, that area of Memphis is great, too. I mean, lots of restaurants, lots of hotels. This isn't going to be downtown. This will be out east there at the Agri Center International, world headquarters of Ducks Unlimited. And Agri Center is a huge concern in itself. You can check it out at agricenter.org, the website. One of the things that John told me the other day about the venue that really shocked me is that did you know that the Agri Center is the largest commercial catfish farm in the state of Tennessee?
No, I didn't.
I didn't know that either. Bill, did you?
No, I didn't know that. I really didn't.
Yep, they are the largest producer of catfish in the state of Tennessee. So that also makes it an awful fitting venue for this. And of course, we'll be bringing you more on that. Bill and I, actually we are on the same flight in the morning. Bill and I are flying out tomorrow morning to go to ICAST, which is the largest angling trade show in the world in Orlando, Florida. And so over the next 3 days, we're going to be intensively recruiting, all kinds of folks involved in the fishing world for Catfish Conference. And watch our Facebook page. I will be coming to you several times over the next 3 days live from ICAST, showing you the latest and greatest fishing tackle and gear, and introducing some of the people that are going to be players in the Bill Dance World Catfishing Expo.
You'll see some stuff. Every lure manufacturer, electronic manufacturer, rod and reel manufacturer, everybody in this, especially in the fishing industry, will be there. From this country, Canada, overseas, Europe, they'll all be there showing their goods. So you'll see the latest. Like we were talking about Garmin a minute ago. Garmin right now with Panoptics has got some of the latest stuff. They will amaze you with their new stuff with Panoptics. So you'll see some of that, and you'll be able to show it. So it'll blow you away. And the new lines, new rods, new reels, with all the latest stuff, and catfish and new catfish equipment and hooks and just everything. So I'm real anxious to see some of the stuff that I've heard about, but I hadn't seen yet. So,
man, I'm excited about seeing the new live view from Panoptics as well. The only place I've really seen it so far, and folks, you got to go to YouTube and check this out. You got to search Bill Dance, Garmin, Sons of Fishes, two of the funniest commercials that I have ever seen in my life. I'm not going to give away, but if you want to see, you really can see fish and some other things swimming on a Panoptics live view. And if you don't believe it, check out the Sons of Fishes 2 commercial. You might even be able to see Bill Dance swimming on that Panoptics. I'm not going to say any more than that, but it truly is funny and something you got to check out. Well, guys, I've kept y'all for a while. We got to shut this down. But before we go, I got to come back to something we were discussing off the air and ask you first, Jeff. Jeff, is it a fishing rod if you're fishing with it, or is it a fishing pole?
That's a fishing
rod. I know without a doubt what he's going to say.
It depends. If I'm doing a seminar, it's probably a fishing rod, but if I'm just fishing, it's a fishing pole.
How about
if
you,
you in
Bill?
to buy it, it's a fishing pole, is what it is. You redneck. that's what my granddaddy used to get on me. I'd say, "Where are those fishing poles?" And he says, "Boy, that is a fishing rod, not a pole." But then in the next 5 minutes, he said, "Where'd you put my fishing pole, boy?"
That's exactly right.
Hey, Johnny Morris probably sells more fishing rods than anybody in the country. They do. But he calls them, Johnny says, "Don't forget your fishing poles." He calls them fishing poles. I call them fishing poles. I don't know. I've always called them a fishing pole. But it's funny.
Well, all I know is and now from now on, I'll know, Bill, if you tell me to grab my pole, what I need to get. I need to grab one of my rods and not something else.
These right here. When I get them, these right here, they're fishing poles.
I can't believe I even said that.
They're fishing poles.
I hear you, brother. Well, guys, man, it's been a pleasure to have both you guys on here today, and a real treat, in particular, having you on here, Bill. For you out there listening to the podcast, hopefully Jeffrey's going to put this on our YouTube channel where you can see me and Bill. You won't be able to see Jeff's face, but that might be a good thing. But you can look, one of my prized possessions here in my office. You see back here over my shoulder what's hanging on the wall, Bill?
Oh, I see it. I see it. Go Balls.
Yes, sir. I got my personally autographed Bill Dance teacup hanging prominently on the wall. Bill's wearing one right now, and
I think I've got one somewhere. I don't see one hanging around here somewhere. There ought to be one, but I don't see one. I need one.
You know what, Bill? You've never asked me for a personally autographed ExcelBoats cap.
I need one.
I'll bring you one tomorrow when I come down.
I like that, but
Hell, I'll be proud to see that on your office wall. Hey, and Jeff, it really has. I don't want you to take a back seat here. It's been a great. We're going to have a lot of fun this week, I'll tell you. Jeff, it's been a blast having you on here, too.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it, J. Paul. I'm really looking forward to what's in store. Not only with the tournaments and it's kind of like Bill said a while ago, catfishing, going with leaps and bounds. I'll say this right quick. I remember when there was only one or two rod manufacturers that come out with a catfish rod. And now look how many you have. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's in store for the sport in the next year or so.
It's growing. I can tell you this, it's growing, buddy.
Yes, sir. It sure is.
Well, get back out there in the field and poison your beans and your cotton.
Spray my bugs.
Spray your bugs if the rain doesn't wash it off.
I hear you. All right, guys. Well, man, I tell you what, it's been a pleasure. Everybody remember, mark your calendar, March 8th, 9th, and 10th, 2019, the ExcelBoats Bill Dance World Catfishing Expo at Agri Center International in the catfish capital of the world, Memphis, Tennessee. Hope to see everybody there. And on behalf of Jeff Dodd and my really good buddy, the legend himself, Mr. Bill Dance, I truly hope that you've enjoyed this edition of the ExcelBoats on the X podcast, powered by Mud Buddy.